Hey guys, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. It is 11:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and today is Monday, April 4th, 2022. Almost at 2021. So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, you guys. I literally had to use the restroom. I knew that was going to happen. I have an alarm set for 10:45, so that gives me like 15 minutes to prepare myself, and I was finishing the rest of my laundry. And then out of nowhere, I had to use the restroom. So, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, you guys. Hey, you guys. Hey, it is Ty, and welcome back to my channel. So, on this channel, as a spiritual healer, intuitive leader, inspirational teacher, I'm here to suggest and advise information, raise our frequencies and our vibrations by educating and informing you guys. So that being said, I suggest and advise information from place of experience as well as what has helped me along my journey. With that being said, I do not tell people what to do or how to feel. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Happy Monday, Tuesday, depending on where you are or when you're watching this, as well as staying hydrated. I have a new bottle of water, and it's another thing. I went to grab a snacky snack and some water. Make sure you're staying hydrated, as well as preparing yourself for the weather and the good stuff. So, really quickly, I'm gonna let some people get situated before we get started. But with that being said, I hope everyone is just appreciating themselves and doing the best that they can. So on the channel, I'm not going to tell you what to do or how to feel. I am going to suggest and advise information. And I do that by, like I said, talking about the opportunities and experiences I've been exposed to from my past, my present, going into the future, as well as educating you guys by using natural resources such as a dictionary, the thesaurus, the internet, an encyclopedia, a glossary, and perspective from everyday experiences by traveling, jobs, relationships, and just everyday life experiences as a human being. So, with that being said, there is no right or wrong way to live your life. And with that being said, okay, don't let anybody tell you how to live your life. So, I'm just gonna post this. And there are some things I want to talk about really quickly for you guys. I just want to make sure that I'm posting this on my social media. So make sure, if you're not already, you follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter at Ty_guidance to stay up to date. Okay, and on my social media, I made a new account. I have a cooking video yesterday or the day before. I made deep fried homemade chicken wings with a side of roasted mashed potatoes and some sweet corn. And yes, it was sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link really quickly in the chat because I want you guys to check that out. So let's see, this is my channel. Okay. So I just put it up there. It should show up in a second. Okay, there we go. So I'm on my phone and I'm on my MacBook at the same time. Now let's see if I can edit this really quickly. I think I spelled that right. Okay. So I put the link in my bio. In the description. So we're just gonna wait, give this 2 minutes, and then I'll go ahead and start. But I hope you guys are having a great day so far and are excited for this new week. And actually, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and post a thumbnail. So therefore, when this video is uploaded, because YouTube likes to take the most cringiest photos or clips from the live and make it as the thumbnail. So Even though I'm not gonna lie, you guys, my CPR, it goes up and down, and it's letting me know that I should work on my thumbnails. If you guys have any ideas or suggestions on what I could do to make my thumbnails better, let me know, because if you are new, I do everything myself, which is expected of me, but I would really appreciate if you guys, could suggest and advise, because I'm very a teachable person. So just because I suggest and advise information, I like to learn just as much as I like to suggest and advise to the collective, because I don't know everything. I don't know everything. I don't know what I've been exposed to, and I do like to educate people instead of just, speaking from a place of opinion, because everybody in life has an opinion. I feel like if the information can be informative or educational for people and actually be beneficial in a productive way, people would want to apply themselves. But it is an option. So, really quickly, I'm just going to use this. This is a mini cake, you guys. I have two of them. I love to eat. Eating is one of my favorite things to do. So, let's make this thumbnail really quickly. Okay. You guys, what the heck? All right. So after I make this thumbnail, I'm gonna go ahead and start the video. Yeah, he's gonna live forever. Ooh, you guys, I love music. Like, I know that's so random, but I'm actually gonna talk about making a playlist. So give me 1 second, you guys. I cannot multitask. I cannot multitask. I probably could, but I choose not to. Like, so we're just gonna say baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. Every little step I take will be together. I can't sleep at night. I toss and turn. You guys, I have an older soul. So like I was born in the 90s, gang 97 to be specifically, but like I feel like my spirit is definitely meant to be in like 60s, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s era. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because like the music that I prefer, like I have three favorite, like I guess kind of genres. Number one is R&B, number two is pop culture, and number three, I listen to rock music, you guys, like band groups or like men specifically. Like, but the reason why I'm saying that is because the music that I prefer to listen to is older, as well as like how I look at life. Even though I think as a Gen Zer, I think like we are like, if you guys are in tune with your spirituality, you guys know that in life, nothing comes to a complete end. It just reprocesses and recycles. So like, I definitely feel like um, probably from like 1920 to 1940, I reincarnated into the 90s, because the music I feel like back then, it definitely hit different. And it's not to knock generations now, like my generation of music, because I live in this generation of Gen Zers and millennials. But I think it's like the the work ethic. So like Beyonce, I'm gonna give her a shout out, because one thing that I can agree with Beyonce, which is very true. Now, this is an opinion, you guys, okay? This is, just me speaking. Like she said in one of her interviews, like people don't, I feel like I agree with Beyonce. They don't really put as much energy, not everybody, but like some of the music that we listen to now, like I'm not an artist, but like I have worked with musicians before, like on some real, like as a vocal producer, and that's something that I want to get into later in the future. But like putting effort and taking your time, and that's what we're going to be talking about for today's video, like really taking time to create something. Like something that I'm learning as a young person is that you want to take your time when it comes to life as well as music. Like back in the day, I feel like they put a lot of time into the music. Like when you take time doing something that you enjoy or learning something just in general, like I feel like it's really beneficial. So now that I have the thumbnail, I'm gonna go ahead and start this video. So once again, for today's video, we're gonna be talking about taking our time and preparing ourselves. So let me just go ahead and put the thumbnail because yeah, the thumbnail that they have, I don't know where YouTube is getting these thumbnails from. Okay, so taking your time, prepare yourself. So that's the same thing we're going to be talking about. So same thing how like Beyonce was referring when it comes to music being like timeless. And I feel like that is going to like affect, the outcome. And one thing that I wanted to start off in saying when it comes to taking your time is most people, including myself, we're not going to be able to control every single outcome in life. So for today's video, going over how to, prepare ourselves in taking time when it comes to life. Because there is no right or wrong way to live life or experience life, you can only do so much. And when it comes to taking your time and preparing yourself, one thing I want to suggest and advise is experiencing life. And when it comes to experiencing life, having good days, having bad days, feeling sad, being mad, being angry, and allowing yourself to elaborate and express those emotions as well as your feelings and your thoughts. Because one thing I want to say when it comes to healing is that there is no right or wrong way and it's a process. So, like anything that you have to process, whether it's food, information, it requires energy and effort for you to one, establish as well as understand and interpret. In life specifically, I'm aware that everyone does not have the same opportunities to interpret life, to experience life. So, me specifically, that's why I classify myself as a messenger. I'm just here to give the messages for the collective. So once again, if you guys are interested in these type of videos, make sure you're giving a big thumbs up, make sure you're commenting down below, and make sure you're subscribed. So like when it comes to making music, when it comes to starting a business, when it comes to moving, when it comes to anything, one thing I want to say from experience that I've learned that has really helped me along my journey is to take my time. Like I have a very dark sense of humor and I have very much open-minded sense of humor. So like the reason why I like to laugh at things, one, I didn't realize one reason was from trauma. So like I would laugh at things in, to cover traumatic experiences. But another reason why I laugh at things all on a serious note is because we live to die and you want to live in the present moment. Like we are born to no longer, live in this physical body to ascend. And while we're currently in this physical state in the 3D, experiencing the opportunities, whether they're good and bad. So, like, the more you're able to take your time figuring out what you want to do in life and who you want to be, the longer you have of the longevity of it actually happening and preparing yourself to do so. So, for me, what I've had to realize is like starting, to take my self seriously when it comes to my professionalism, becoming my own boss or becoming a YouTuber, like in the long term and not just in the moment, was one, knowing that I don't want instant, I think gratification is the word, or satisfaction. Like there is nothing wrong with being like, viral sensation or being in the present moment and wanting expectations or feeling the need or desire to accomplish things. But asking yourself and understanding, is this something that you're going to accomplish and be proud of, like as you continue on, or is this something that you want, I think, instantly? And like I said, there's nothing wrong with instant gratification, but from experience, what I want to suggest and advise when it comes to healing, it's the same thing. You want to take energy, you want to prepare yourself. Like what I've had to learn was preparing myself to run a business, to understand, the ups and the downs, like when I'm able to have 10 people in a life or when I have nobody in the life, like the more you can prepare yourself when it comes to experiencing your life, because there's no right or wrong way. And what I mean by preparing yourself is that sometimes you're going to be able to be ready. Like, for example, if you know that you have to plan for something, if you have some preparation to do and you're able to take that time and energy to get whatever needs to be done, you have that time. But if you're, let's just say, tomorrow someone brings an opportunity to you or you're asked to relocate, are you one aware? Are you educated? Are you, willing? And are you going to be adaptable? And that's something that I've realized when it comes to life. Life is just life. So us learning from our experiences, our past, our present, and our future will allow us to be more grounded, I want to suggest and advise, as well as moving forward. One thing that I've had to realize and learn, and this is why I like to hold myself accountable every single day, not just for like my genuine subscribers and my collectives, but for me, you guys too, because I'm a real, even though yes, I'm a spirit. Physically, yes, I'm on earth too. But I too have information that I have to process. And as I process this information, I like to, like I said, grow. And one thing that I've had to learn is that it's a difference between going backwards and being detoured in life. I used to think that, you had to take step backs. You had to take you had to take steps backs to move forward when actuality you're not going backwards, you're detouring. Like if you're driving, let's just say we're driving on the road, and you guys, I love to give these examples because, like I said, this is how I learn, and I feel like this is like one of the most simplest way to process information because everyone in life does not interpret. Like everyone doesn't have the same finances, the same emotional, the same geographic, the same hoopla, whatever. Like everyone does not think the same. Everyone does not have the same experiences and opportunities, and I don't expect that from people. That's why me, out of the kindness of my heart, I don't mind educating people. But like for example, let's just say we're on a trip, we're going on a road trip, we have a GPS. All GPSs have to have a starting point and an end point. Between the starting point and the end point, anything can happen from traffic, from an accident to construction to roads being closed. If we have a specific, like I said, route that they're telling us to take, and then all of a sudden we get into accident, we get into traffic, we now have to change the route, but it's still going to get us to the end destination. It just means we're going from a different way. And that's how life is. Like you may have your GPS set from starting point to end point, but during your ride and during the journey and the process of you getting to and from your destination, things may happen. And when it comes to life and our experiences, when it comes to healing, it's the same opportunity. Like what I want to suggest and advise to you guys when it comes to preparing yourself and taking your time, you want to be able to still have control over your car and not feel overwhelmed if you're tired flattened. So if your tire flattens, it's not to say that you can't get upset. It's not to invalidate your pain. It's not to, you know, make you like feel like you can't feel. But once you realize, okay, my tire popped, do something about it. You have to prepare yourself. And the more you prepare yourself, the more you take your time to figure out yourself and heal yourself, the more you will not only be educated as well as be aware. And one thing I could suggest and advise, experience is one of the best teachers in life. Like everything that I've talked about, everything that I've gone through was me experiencing life. Nobody held my hand. Nobody said, Ty, this, nobody. Now, of course, I was fortunate to have both of my parents in my life, and because I was fortunate to have both of my parents in my life, my parents were young, like I'm young, but my parents were young, but they hung around older people and how they were raised. They had like very old school traditional lives. And I think that's how I am now. And me being young and having young parents, I too would hang around older people. Like for example, when I was young, I've like as a young person, I've always hung out with people that were older than me. And like I remember in high school, when I was in ninth and 10th grade, I hung out with 11th and 12th graders. Like I remember the first day of school of ninth grade, I sat with my friend Zion. We were both freshmen. We were sitting all the way in the back of the bus. Like all of the other freshmen were sitting in the front of the bus to go to school. And me and my friend Zion, shout out to her, we were sitting all the way in the back with 11th graders and 12th graders. And like, even when I went to school and as a ninth grader, like I hung out with 11th graders and 12th graders. And like, it wasn't until they graduated, I was sad because it's not to knock the people that I graduated with, because 2015 was a good year. But like, I've just always been, I guess, fascinated by people who have experienced life because I was naive in learning from life. So when it comes to taking your time and being prepared, like how I just stated that I was naive, it is nothing wrong with that. Like it is nothing wrong with challenging yourself. There's nothing wrong with having opportunities that did not what you think didn't work out for you. Because one thing that I've realized, the more you detach yourself from the labels, whether it's an attachment, physical, material, financially, the more you realize everything is working for you. Like your perspective too, and I think that's what we're going to be talking about maybe tomorrow or as this week goes on, is our perspective. It's our attitude. Like things are going to happen in life. And me being 25, you guys, learning that you're not going to always have the control over an outcome and that it's okay for you to not always have control over an outcome or over a situation. Like the more you're able to respect yourself and understand that things are happening for you in life, the more likely it is you will want to realize, where you're going. Now, of course, everyone is not fortunate to have certain experiences. So, what I want to suggest and advise is when it comes to preparing yourself, use what you have and do what you know. If something is for you, it's going to work out. Just because, like I said, there's delay, just because things take time, doesn't mean necessarily that you can't get to where you need to be. You just have to prepare yourself and realize, okay, if this is something that I want and it didn't work out necessarily how I wanted to, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. That's something that I've really had to really like be patient with and accept. I'm not going to be able to control, the outcome of where I want to go, but I know that I'm in a direction and I want to move forward. And as long as I'm willing to get up every single day or do the best that I can when I can, I'm preparing myself. Like most people in life don't have the opportunity to prepare themselves. Like, for example, I woke up this morning. I had to be at my doctor's appointment at 7:30, I think, or like 7:25. And usually I like to wake up like an hour and 30 minutes before just so I can, like I said, prepare myself. But today I didn't have time to do that. I was on somebody else's time. And the reason why I like to take that time to get up is because what I can say for me, at least from experience, when I'm being rushed and when I prepare myself, my energy is different. One thing I want to suggest and advise when it comes to taking your time and preparing yourself for life is to take your time. Like when you go places, you should not want to be rushed because most people, when they're rushed, they're like, oh, let me get my keys, let me get my hair, let me get this. And now you're just trying to skedaddle like a chicken. We don't need to skedaddle like chickens. That's what chickens are for. Okay. And that's not to throw shade to the chickens in the farms in the chicken community because I'm not coming for you guys. But like, being patient with yourself, honestly, I know that is something that like make people cringe because growing up when I was young, I used to be very impatient. I used to be very impatient, and now I'm realizing like I want to be like for people that are in tune with, I don't know what they're called, but like yogis or people who are like peaceful. One thing I want to suggest and advise when it comes to being peaceful, you got to be patient. Peace is being still, like literally being still and being comfortable. And that's something that I realized too. Patience to me is not waiting because when you have to wait for something, you have to wait. It's how you're waiting. And that's something too, like as the older adults that I've surrounded myself with and my mentors have made me realize how you wait is way more important than you waiting. So, for example, if you are waiting for a pair of shoes to come out, if you're waiting for a bag to come out, if you're waiting in line, if you're waiting for your food, if you're waiting for a car wash, if you have to wait for something, your attitude and how you have to stand still and how you have to wait for this opportunity to happen is the process. And that's something too that I've learned. Like when I first started my channel to now, how are you willing to wait? How are you willing to prepare yourself when things are not happening to you immediately or when you want them to? Because another thing in life, you guys, this is for those who are in tune with themselves. If you know, things don't happen when you want them to unless it's man made time. So, for example, the programming that's been set Monday through Friday, Saturday through Sunday, December through January, in the physical form of time, If you have something specifically planned out on a calendar, or you specifically have a date, or you have something specifically to go off of, like a schedule, things are going to happen because it's been set in stone. And that's what I was talking about yesterday, the hamster wheel effect. A lot of us are on a hamster wheel effect when it comes to our life, when in life there is no time. So because time is a form of illusion, but it's something in the physical world, like I said, for those who are supernaturally in tune with themselves spiritually, you need to be on your own time. You don't need to be on a time on a schedule unless you physically have somewhere to be. Like, for example, physically today, I physically had to go to the doctor's. Other than you going to places that help you get to where you need to be so you can be prepared in your life, take your time. Learn to prepare yourself. Learn to learn from your experiences. Now, of course, when we make decisions where we lack knowledge, we're naive, we don't have the emotional, financial support, we feel some type of way. It's not to invalidate how we feel. But one thing that I want to realize, like I said, going backwards and being detoured are two different things. A lot of people go backwards. A lot of people go back to what they're familiar with. A lot of people are comfortable in environments, situations, relationships, and experiences that they have outgrown, and they try to do things differently and get the same outcome. And that's something I had to realize. Like, when it comes to my intimate relationships, I was going backwards instead of detouring and learning. That's why I kept getting the same karmic cycles and the same karmic people. As many times as you try to put puzzle pieces together that doesn't fit into a puzzle, it's not going to work. And it's the longevity. It's not that, you can't put something that's broken back together, that you want to be fit together. But if it breaks and it can't be put back together, accepting that you had that opportunity, accepting that you had that experience, and that there's more to life. And that's what helps you, one, prepare yourself and allows you to take your time to do what it is that you want to do. Anything that you want to do is possible. If you have the thought, because the thought, it's a process. Like, the easiest way I want to suggest and advise when it comes to making things into reality is, first you have to have the vision. Like, you have to have a thought. I would say mentally or emotionally or physically. It doesn't matter where it comes from, because all of us, like I said, are in tune. We're all psychic and, you know, spirituals beings. So it doesn't matter which direction or which sense it comes from. But like, you first have to feel, see, or like I said, with our senses. And another thing, you guys, I realized yesterday, because I get the most downloads at nighttime, is that people who do not have all their senses. So shout out to anybody who is considered to be autistic or blind or deaf. Like, I love you a lot, because you are very, like, super powerful, like super beings. Because a lot of people, and this is why I tell you guys to be grateful, a lot of people don't have their vision. A lot of people cannot see. A lot of people can't speak. A lot of people can't hear. A lot of people cannot touch. Like me, I have to get surgery. A lot of people, their posture and their alignment, people do not have these opportunities. So that's another thing I want to suggest in life, is being grateful for where you are, and being grateful that you have the opportunity to take time. Once again, because a lot of us are on this hamster wheel environment and cycle, a lot of people are miserable and they're angry and they're frustrated because they get up, they work, they come home and do the same thing, not knowing that you have control and you have a lot more time. Like I said, if you live in the physical, what I want to say, if you live in the physical, you're going to have physical reality. So Monday through Friday, Saturday through Sunday, December through January, 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., 10 to 3, 8 to 3, 2 to 3, 6 to 3. Okay, your outcome. Now, if you take a step back from the physical world and you learn to balance, because of course, I'm not going to sit here and act like, well, honestly, it depends on how you look at life. For me, like I said, I'm a spirit. So how I look at life, everything is spiritual. But I'm learning to accept people who are still in the physical, which is your flesh. A lot of people live in their ego. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because before I was able to be like 100% aware, because when I was little, you guys, like, I was always in tune, but I never realized, like, I used to watch certain things and pay attention to certain energies. And it wasn't until I had, like I said, life and death experience to where I saw, what happened to me. Like, some people are really gifted and in tune with themselves. So, like, it is okay to not be where you need to be as long as you are taking your time. So I'm gonna drink some water, you guys, because it's really important to be patient with yourself. And like, I used to really like dislike being patient. I used to be so impatient. And it's like, what do I need to rush for? Like, why? Like, and I'm going to say this with love because, like I said, my sense of humor, I've learned to laugh at life because life is a joke, literally. Is a joke, it's a dream, it's a memory. You should not take life seriously. Now, when you take life seriously, it's because you're doing something that needs to be serious. But life, I would suggest and advise laughing, loosening up, like dancing, cooking, going out to eat, enjoying yourself, like learning to have a balance. Like, yes, you can have a work life, yes, you can be serious with yourself, but not being so like stern. And I know this personally because like one thing that I've learned is perspective. So, like, how I used to see myself, not how I used to, excuse me, but how I see myself and how other people see me, I never realized until I turned 23 years old. Like, I've always lived in my own world. And like a lot of people say that, but like a lot of people's actions and energy, it doesn't match. And it's not my job to like point out people specifically and say, well, you know, you said this and you no, like I can only speak for myself. And that's why I'm saying that. Like I really have been very in tune with myself so long that I didn't realize that like how other people see me and how I perceive myself is different. It wasn't until somebody said something, like somebody brought it to my attention. And like that's why I feel like I've always like been like with certain people like disconnected, and I understand now like how you see yourself and how other people see you, it is not the same because you know yourself best. And this is why I always tell you guys to express your individuality and being comfortable with yourself. Like I had to accept that, oh, like what I do, like it comes across to other people. Like I've gotten things like as unapproachable, like how I look. And it's like I'm very goofy, but at the same time, like people also think like this is why I never like paid attention to what other people think because it's like it's not me. So not in a selfish way, but like a form of protection. Like, but it's like if people want to get to know me, I have to let them know, like, you know, I could be serious, but I could be goofy, but at the same time, you know, like I think that's why people like are, I guess, fascinated with myself and other people. Like when you don't know someone and you see them move a certain type of way, I feel like a lot of us have like a form of judgment. And that's normal because until you ask someone or until you get around someone or you pay attention to people, you see certain things. Now, if you're like me, you if you see you and you know and you hear it, you see through stuff. And I think that's another reason why I move and I carry myself a certain type of way because it's like, okay, who are you fooling? But for those of you who are not, you know, I would say, uh, yeah, because it's possible. Like anybody could tap in to their higher self. It's not hard. You just gotta like prepare yourself. And this is what I'm talking about in today's video. We just gotta learn how to prepare ourselves and take time to do so because the more you, like I said, align yourself, the higher, of course, you raise your frequency, as well as when it comes to elevating. And like for me, when I used to be, like I said, very impatient, I didn't understand that patience is powerful. Like I really want to like suggest that and advise it. And once again, anything I suggest and advise to you guys, like I do hold myself accountable. And I don't say that to be superior, but it's just like how one thing that my grandma told me, shout out to you, grandma, was there are people who say stuff and there are people who do stuff. And it's just like a lot of things. It takes a lot to say certain things, but it also takes a lot more to do things. That's why, like, when people say it's what people do and not what people say, I think it's both. Like, what people say is important just as much as what they're going to do. And, like, for me holding myself accountable is for all of my genuine it's not just for me. Like when I do stuff, it's never just for Ty. Because if it was really for me, you guys would not hear or see from me. Okay. And that's with love because it's just like I said, I'm a spirit. I'm very in tune with the supernatural. Like the physical world, it does not move me at all. And like because I'm a spirit, I'm, you know, but I'm learning to be patient. I'm learning to be patient, okay? Because everyone is not, you know, there. And once again, it's not my job to tell you guys what to do or how to feel. And it's not my job to sit here and enforce my beliefs or my opinions. Like, this is why I like to educate you guys and I like to be honest and like how I look and how I learn. Like I said, like it's the difference between going backwards and detouring. Like, one thing I want to suggest and advise when it comes to preparing yourself is to not go backwards. So, for example, if certain relationships have been cut off or outgrown, what I want to say is that the reason why you don't want to go backwards is because it's so much easier to be comfortable. Like, this is something that I'm learning to move forward. Like, I used to do things that made me feel comfortable and familiar, but it's like if I want to move forward and the people around me are not helping me move forward, they're in the way. Now, if let's just say you're with people that you've known for a while, if they're changing with you and you guys are growing together and it's mutual, yes, that is called detouring. That means you guys first started somewhere and you didn't have the growth and you didn't have the alignment. But if it's not mutual, because what's going to happen is as you continue to grow and as the people that you used to know grew, if they're not moving with you, you're going to feel off balance. And that goes with any and everything. And when it comes to aligning yourself, everything in your life, this is how people, I guess, attract things like gravity, whether it's physically, emotionally, and financially. You have to be aligned with what it is that you want. And that's something that I realized. Like, in order for me to be this businesswoman that I know that I am in the process of becoming, I have to align myself. I have to prepare myself. I have to take my time. Like, once again, a lot of people from the outside who don't understand that I'm building a house and not a paper doll house. Okay, not nothing against Barbie and Bratz, 'cause I used to play with both of those, but I want to build a house that's gonna last. Like, if it rains or snows, bullets, whatever. People who are not taking the time to align themselves, they're like, why aren't you monetizing? Why aren't you this? Why aren't you that? Like, they don't understand. You need to surround yourself and be around people like this because if not, what it's going to do is going to hinder the both of you. And then eventually, regardless of where you are, it will collapse. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's family members, whether it's jobs, whether, like I said, it's old experiences. So, like, when it comes to preparing yourself, like I said, that goes back to the GPS. It's nothing wrong with having a starting a point and an ending point and going with the familiar route. But sometimes we have to have detours. Like me, one thing I've realized, and this is why I like to hold myself accountable, the situations that I put myself in was because of me. Oh, y'all, my hair looks crazy. It was because of me, and like it wasn't aligned with my path. Like I used to try to make friends and be friends with people that the divine did not want me to be associated with, and that's why every single time I would go around, like it would just. And one thing about the divine, for those of you who believe, if your body is telling you someone's making you feel uncomfortable or something's uncomfortable, you're uncomfortable for a reason. You cannot force love. You can't force relationships. You can't force people. You can't control people either. The more you try to control something, the more it's going to, okay? And like I'm saying this with love. So like just take your time, whether it's in a relationship, it's a business, it's yourself, it's healing. Because like I said, the more you can be prepared, because there are gonna be moments where you're not gonna be prepared. Like anything can happen to anybody. This is why I am learning, of course, to not be so serious all the time, but have a balance. So like I laugh a lot and it's healthy. Like one thing I realized a lot of people do not like to laugh. A lot of people are really like stiff. And I'm talking about like when it comes to dancing and laughing because they take their life so seriously and it's just like you're not gonna live forever. And like of course you don't want to be like ha 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 kiki kiki all the time, but like having fun like with yourself in your life like that's gonna be the next thing I want to talk about. So like your attitude. So like when it comes to preparing yourself and like Beyonce said, like the reason why Beyonce, because she's not the only singer in the world. So it's not like she's like, superior. But like I definitely agree with like what she said. Like Beyonce, Michael Jackson, like the people who have, I would say, timeless music. The reason why their music is timeless, Luther Vandross, or Chris Jenner says Luther Vandross, is because they put time. The more time and energy, or like whoever your favorite artist is, think about how much time and energy, or like your comedian, like think about all the time and energy they put into themselves to have and do what they did. And for those people who want instant gratification, it's not to knock you because it's just like there's nothing wrong with being a one hit wonder or going viral for a day. But if one thing I've had to learn from mentors is that if you don't have credit or accountability or anything to hold back on, that's just a moment. And now, of course, there's nothing wrong with living your life in a moment, but like if you're able to enjoy your life and you have a direction, or if you want to build your life, what I want to suggest and advise is to take your time and try to prepare yourself as much as possible. Guys, water tastes so good. I'm definitely, I need to get back on my water diet. You guys, I did a water diet for 3 weeks last month, and then I had some juice. And I had a Coke with no ice specifically. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, one thing about me, you guys, I used to be a vegan, but like I go back and forth. Like, yesterday, I made some fried chicken wings, and I think I put the link, or the day before yesterday, I think. I made some chicken wings, and I've been eating beef and chicken. That's the only two meat that I do eat is beef and chicken. But like, there's nothing wrong with that. I have to prepare myself. Like me, when I used to be a vegan 2, 3 years ago, I enjoyed it. Now I'm not gonna lie, like there's certain things that I'm outgrowing, and that's okay. Like I have to learn how to prepare myself. Like in order for me to be on the diet that I really want to be on, like being consistent takes time. I know a lot of people are like, well, you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. What I want to suggest and advise is being determined, because in order for you to be consistent, in order for you to be disciplined, you have to feel like you have to be, or desire, or desirable. I think that's where you guys don't quote me now. Okay, this is why I used to read the dictionary to educate you guys and myself. But like having the desire, and that's the same thing. Like when it comes to being patient and preparing yourself, like you gotta desire it, like you gotta want it. And like when it comes to healing, if you're mentally unstable, emotionally unstable, financially unstable, you cannot heal yourself like that. Excuse me, you guys. So like as this physical year goes on and this physical month goes on, like I'm learning to appreciate me taking time building our channel. Because one thing that I'm realizing is that the stability, like it's a long term, thing. And the longer you have something last, the longer it will last. And like, there's no right or wrong way. And like, one thing, like I said, when it comes to preparing yourself, because you're not going to always be prepared, doing the best that you can while you're here. So, like, being grateful, having fun, like, having a balance. Balance, I feel like, is so important. So, like, as I'm speaking, I'm figuring out, what I want to talk about for this month in this year, because every single year, at least, I've been trying to, do things differently, because I gotta figure out like myself, like as I'm preparing myself, like what's working for me, what's not working for me, and not being frustrated. And one thing that I could really suggest and advise, and I know it's easier said than done, but is learning to let go and just trusting the process. Like what I really want to say from experience, and I'm gonna end off this video unless someone comes in and out the chat, is learning to trust the process. If you could trust the process, the experience is just an opportunity. If you are doubting the process, and that is something too, I really had to hold myself accountable. You guys, I'm not just talking just to talk. I do not talk just to talk. Okay. Like if you're like, let's just say like my neighbor, Miss Lisa, shout out to you if you're watching this. Yeah, like I'm like, hi, how are you? How's your day? Okay. But when I speak, I like to speak intentionally and with the purpose, because it's like, what am I speaking for? And that's the same thing for you guys. Like if you learn to trust the process, like, and that's something that takes time. Like when I first started doing YouTube, because once again, we see things and we don't know how it really works until we start doing it. Like before I was a full-time YouTuber, or I decided to take YouTube seriously, I just seen YouTubers living a lifestyle, not knowing that they had to build their way up to this lifestyle. Like some people, yes, granted, are privileged. Some people, yes, have access. Some people, yes, have certain resources. One thing that my aunt made me realize is I'm not one of those people. So, because I'm not one of those people, it is nothing wrong with that. Because even though, yes, learning to be self taught and self made is something that takes yourself to do, it's the longevity and the benefits. Now, of course, it's not to knock people who have things handed to them or people who are privileged, because if you're privileged, you should be further in life. Like your lifestyle should match your experiences and what you are talking about. And this is why for me, like, I don't judge people's pockets and I don't judge people who are privileged or have privileges and are further in life, because that's one thing I want to suggest and advise to you guys is like, you have to worry about yourself. You can't look at people who are privileged and be like, well, this person has like, if they're privileged and they have the resources to do better, they should be doing better. They should be in positions to where they can and have access versus someone who may not have. And that's why it's important for you to live your life and you to prepare yourself, because if we're not all privileged, or, you know, 'cause I don't like to speak for you guys unless it's something that I feel like is relatable. If everyone's not privileged, which everyone's not, some people are going to have certain experiences that some people don't. So, like, for example, people that are born into wealth, people that are considered to be, I forgot the word, but like it's when you're born into wealth. And like if you're born into wealth versus someone who has lived in poverty or middle class their entire life, you don't have the same qualifications. It doesn't mean that you're not able to reach these qualifications or that you can't learn skills or that you can't have these opportunities, but like how you access them and the information, like your resources are not going to be the same. That doesn't mean that you limit yourself. It just means someone who's born into wealth. I'm gonna look up the word. Somebody that's born into wealth, they do have certain resources, they do have certain privileges versus someone who doesn't. And it's not to say that, you know, like I said, it's not likely, but you have to look at it from where you are. This is why I tell you guys all this. So this is why I tell you guys all the time not to compare yourself, because when you look at other people, one, you're not focusing on you. That's why, like, I genuinely believe like there is no such thing as competition. Like I really do not believe in competition. Like even when it comes to fast food, like there is no competition. Like if people like something more than something else, that's okay. I think their preferences, like I do believe in preferences, but to compete, like McDonald's is not Burger King. Chick-fil-A is not Chipotle. You know, like Walmart is not Target. They're just two different. That's like if me and another spiritual healer were to both have a YouTube channel, like what is the purpose for competing if we are two different people? Not just that, when you try to compete with other people, you study other people and you lose yourself. And the person who is really genuine and authentic is going to shine. And eventually, the people that, you know, that are following these people and that look up to these people, they're going to notice. It may not be immediately, because you have a lot of people in the world who, because they feel like they're in competition with people, they copy other people, they keep up with other people, not realizing that when you copy other people and you compete with people, you lose your identity. Like me, there's nobody on this earth that I've ever wanted to look like. There's nobody on this earth that I wanted to ever be like. Because, like I said, before I learned to have emotional balance, I've always been analytical. It doesn't make sense for me to like, and I think it's disrespectful, but don't compare yourself to other people. Like when it comes to you preparing yourself, when it comes to you being patient with your life, like you get to be you naturally for you for free. Like the one thing that is guaranteed in life that is free is your breath. Everybody does not get to breathe on their own. Like me, I'm learning how to breathe again. And I know you're thinking, what do you mean? Like everyone breathes. People are not aware of their breathing patterns. So it's just like when it comes to you preparing yourself, you want to be able to breathe on your own. You want to do things that make you feel good when it comes to living your life, because you can't compare yourself to other people. I feel like that's why a lot of people are disappointed. That's why a lot of people, like I said, they look at other people, they see other people have certain things, and they're like, well, this person has this and I don't have. You lack because you don't know any better. You lack because you don't have finances. You lack because you don't have emotional. You lack not because of what other people do. If you're not surrounding yourself, and this is why it's so important, like I said, to go forward. It's okay to be detoured in life, but do not go backwards. Like, do not go backwards. In order for you to take your time, in order for you to be prepared, you don't go backwards in life. And that's something that I said that was ignorant. I made an ignorant statement. That's when I lack knowledge, is that you got to go. No, you do not go backwards to go forward. You detour. When you're moving forward, you don't go backwards, you detour. So if you're on it, let's just say you're walking literally on a path, like a physical path. Let's just say we're in the woods or wherever, and we're walking down a path and we get distracted, or something comes to us in a form of distraction, or it throws us off, or an obstacle. or a blockage, we're not going to take 3 steps back. We're just going to go around, which means you're detouring. Going backwards means, okay, let's turn around. And we don't want to turn around in life because the past is a moment that no longer exists. We can't go backwards in life. We detour in life because everything that we do in life is a part of our destination, is a part of our path. Rather, we are aware of it and we just walk every single day, or we realize these are the steps that I'm taking to get to where I need to be. So let me look up this word, you guys, because I think it's called hierarchy. I think person born into wealth or heiress. I think that's the word. I think I do not know how to pronounce this word. Why I typed in person born into wealth word. You guys, the words that they have on here, it says Mr. Moneybag. Oh my gosh, this is why it's so important to like when you look up information, you don't want to just read the first thing you see. You want to take your time. That's the same thing when it comes to educating yourself. Take your time. This is why, like, for example, the word humble, I think a lot of people get offended by it because they read the first word without processing the whole definition and reading the whole thing. Like Mr. Moneybag, that is so funny. What is it? Let me see. Hierarchy. I think that's the word I'm thinking of. I just want to make sure. I think this is. I think this is it. You guys, I am, like I said, I'm hierarchy. A system or organism in which groups are ranked above. Okay, so like, yeah. So a hierarchy. That's the word I was thinking of, and I wanted to say it, but I wasn't sure. Don't second guess yourself. If your body and your intuition is telling you something, don't second guess yourself because you're right. You're not wrong. Your body would not feel some type of way, whether it's negative or positive. Okay, you guys. And when you second guess yourself, sometimes you can put yourself in situations that you do not want to be in. Okay, speaking from experience. Okay, if not, do what I just did. If you're not sure of something, take the time to educate yourself or take the time to figure out what it is. Is nothing wrong. Like one thing that I want to suggest and advise you guys, and I'm gonna end off this video unless, like I said, people come in and out the chat. There's nothing wrong with not knowing things. And that's a part of taking your time. When it comes to educating yourself, when it comes to doing something that you've never done, one thing I want to say to a lot of people is do not be discouraged. If you're starting something that you've done, if you're starting to do something you've never done before, what could you be upset about? And I want you guys to start asking yourself this, like, what am I upset about? That's like the example I gave yesterday. If you're trying to learn how to ride a bike for the first time and you never, rode a bike before, how do you know what you're feeling? How do you know what it's like until you physically get on that bike and you put the pedal to the metal? Like when you already prejudge something, which is an assumption, you have fear, you have doubt. Now you're worried, now you're stressed, now you're giving yourself anxiety, now you have a panic attack, and now you feel discouraged. And because you're down on yourself, you may feel like, oh, I can't do this, I don't want to do this. And all of this is taking away from you. When it comes to preparing yourself and taking your time, you don't want to take away from yourself. And that's why, like, patience is really important, you guys. Like, I'm 25 years old and it's hitting me. Like, even though, like I said, for those of you who know, like, I'm so spiritually aligned, it's ridiculous. But like I'm learning to accept the physical. Like some people are born supernaturally and aware of their spirit. Some people are born into the physical. It's about balance because both exist. Like they do both exist. They do. Okay. So when you learn to balance yourself, what I want to end off this video, because I've reached the time. unless, like I said, some people come in and out, or you guys have any questions. When it comes to taking your time and when it comes to preparing yourself, just show up. Show up. If you're learning how to ride a bike and you never rode a bike before, don't think too much about it. The more you judge something, the more you try to control something, the harder it is for you to accept and for you to do what needs to be done. And like moving forward and aligning yourself and stepping into the unknown, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I personally am going through this, but it's just like my higher self is like, what are you afraid of? You just spirit. But my physical self is like, ah, like I internally scream every single day. Like every single day, I internally scream every single day. But like I said, my higher self is just like, ma'am, you've been doing this. Like there are no walls outside, so unless you're inside a building, okay? So it's just like you got to learn how to be patient with yourself. You want to take your time. The more time you take for yourself, the clearer your intentions are going to be, and that is something that's really important. So like I said, as I make this video, I'm learning just as much as you all are learning as I'm teaching, because yes, my higher self is older than 25, but as of right now, I'm 25 in the physical. And until, I'm one and we are one, we have to live our lives the best way that we can. So I just want to say thank you guys so much. Make sure if you like this video, you leave a like, comment down below if you like anything, if you want to learn anything, if you have any questions, even if you dislike the video, let me know, because I'm a teachable person, you guys. I do not know everything. I only know what I know, but I do like to take my time to educate myself, because what else am I going to do with myself? Okay. But learn to laugh. What I want to suggest and advise, and when I'm getting off this video, is to laugh. I want you guys to laugh or to smile. When's the last time you laughed at something? Okay, like me personally, I have to laugh every single day because, like I said, life is a joke. Okay, and laughing is very healthy. Like a lot of people don't realize that. That's like sleeping. Like the things that I do naturally, they are very beneficial to your body, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and financially. Like sleeping is a form of one of the heaviest forms of meditation. But like me, the reason why I like to sleep is because, like I said, it's a form of meditation. But like when you are attuned with yourself, like me, I'm conscious in my dreams. I'm learning not to be afraid, because it's just like, okay, if you know, you know. But like do things that make you feel good. Do things that make you feel good so you can learn to prepare yourself and take your time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Live your life, okay? We have a lot to do in this physical month of April, as well as this physical year. And you guys, don't mind my hair. I don't know what to do with it. You guys, I have to learn how to do my hair. Growing up, I didn't like get my hair done like as often as I guess I wouldn't say should have, because it's just how I was raised. Like my mom and my grandma on my mom's side, they're Native American, so they don't have the same hair texture as me. So like when I was 10 years old, you guys, my mom stopped doing my hair and I didn't know how to do my hair. So like I gotta learn how to do my own hair, okay? Because I'm an adult now. But it is what it is on myself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys later. We have a lot to talk about. I think, how many days are in April? There are 30 days in April. So we have 26 more days, or how many more days left, okay, you guys? But I love you guys. It is now 12:09. See how the time is? Tuesday, 12:09 Eastern Standard Time, April 5th, 2022. And just like that. So that being said, don't be so hard on yourself. Take your time and prepare yourself the best way you can, because now is today and today is now. So until next time, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Live your life and do not forget to say YOLO. And make sure you guys are following me on my Instagram and my Twitter at